This app is great for quickly making 3D models. This app is a powerhouse vector drawing app. How will these two apps match up to make killer sketches? You'll find out on this episode of iPad Matchmaker. I'm not the biggest fan of doing involved 3D modeling on the iPad, not at this point. But Forma is great for doing quick, basic 3D models, and I do find myself fairly often impressed with the features in this app. Part of that is because the UI kind of sucks. The icons, they don't really clearly suggest what a button's going to do, and some of the features I think are fairly hard to find, but that's okay. You don't really have to get too in deep or invest a lot of time to get the most out of this app in terms of its basic features. Don't get me wrong, even with its flaws, Forma is one of the best kept secrets on the App Store. I can quickly lay out the geometry to scale in 3D and then take it into a drawing app like Concepts to develop it further, so I get the best of both worlds. Sounds like a pretty good match so far. I am going to go down here to this cube, if you can see this. A cube, like a sugar cube? Maybe I can lick it. Okay, that's gross, I won't do that. Cut that. Okay, so this cube with a plus on it, let's tap that. If you go up here to this icon and tap that, you can actually select a view. Let's do top view. Select our rectangle. And then when we drag this, we have to find a point that we want to start and then drag a line. Very much like AutoCAD that way. Let's just make this 40 feet by, let's say 40 feet. So I'm just going to drag that till I get 40 feet. Now I want to extrude this. It's not so easy to see how high I'm extruding it in the top view. So let's just tap this again and go to our home 3D view, because that gives me kind of a nice ISO view. Not really, but something like that. And then let's just tap on this rectangle and we can extrude it up. Now this time I am going to actually just tap on this dimension and I can enter that as well. So let's just make this a cube. So I'm going to type in 40 feet, return, and now I have a 40 by 40 by 40 foot cube. So I just want to tap and hold on this. What you want to do then is go to this square with the little dashed lines on the inside, and that is offset. Now I can drag out from the edge how much I want to offset. Again, I'm going to enter the dimension so it can be exact. I'm going to do 6 inches so that it's roughly the thickness of a very generic wall. Tap away to clear my selection, and then I'm going to tap the square in the middle, and I'm going to drag it down until I see the grid, and I just have, in this case, walls. These are going to be walls. Now let's tap the back wall, tap this wall here, and we'll extrude that out. I could just rotate around and find a view, but hey, this is kind of weird. If you use 2 fingers, you can 2-finger drag pans, and you can get a view of your corner in perspective. Now, you don't have to stop here. You don't have to stop at just the walls. If you want to lay out some basic objects, you can do that. Say I want a table in this room. We can just draw, again, just draw a rectangle. And let's say we want it here. We can refine this later. 7 feet by, I don't know, 4 feet is good. And let's make that table height, which is 3 feet. So let's just gonna get a view that I like. Includes the table, includes the back walls, and a little bit of the ceiling. The ceiling is nice to have because this will help you actually find your vanishing points when you're drawing the 2-point perspective. So even if you crop it out in the final view, although I think ceilings are nice if you're doing an interiors drawing like this one, even if you're cropping it out, I suggest that you find a view that includes it. And then I'm going to hit this little square with an arrow. That's really the kind of the universal export in iPadOS. And then I am going to go to save image, and that's going to save it to my photos. So Forma is cool for creating quick models, but the question is it a good match for our friend the Concepts app? Do these two apps go together to help you be productive, to make good work, to create nice deliverables, things you can sell? I'm in the Concepts drawing and I want to import the image that I just exported from Forma to see how these two cats play together. I'm going to go up here to import. I'm going to tap this little button, more, So cute, a little more. Okay, and then I'm going to go to Photos and Import From, and I'm going to tap on my last photo. It's kind of small, so I'm just going to scale it up until it fits my canvas. So we want to be able to find the perspective in the image that we just imported. So to do that, we're going to want to create a new layer, and then we are going to want to select a pen that has 100% smoothing. I like to use a wire pen. This one right up here in this little squiggle line, that's your smoothing. You just want to make sure that's pressed and then dragged all the way up to 100%. Now we can just follow the edges of our walls back to get the vanishing points. Actually, it would work with the box too, but I like to use the walls because they're spaced further apart, and then I just follow that back. I'm going to drag out a super long line, and I want to make sure it's following the edge, and then I will do the same thing at the bottom. So here we go. You just want to be as close as you can, and then that's vanishing point 1. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Follow that as close as you can. And then I have vanishing point 2. What I can do is I can actually set up my perspective grid, 2-point perspective this time because I'm looking at a corner, to match the perspective in this rendering. Okay, to do that I'm just going to turn on my grid, and then I'm going to go in and make sure 2-point is selected, and I'm going to tap to get out of that, and then I'm going to tap on these 9 dots to edit my grid. You'll notice that that blue line shows up. It's trying to do a perfectly horizontal line, so just hold on to that and drag it around a little bit till that blue line disappears, and then drag it up to your vanishing point and let it go, and your grid will be set up with the same perspective as the rendering. Go to Done. We can create a new layer. We can even turn off our reference lines there to find our vanishing points. And now when we start drawing on this, if we go to Snap, then go to Options, turn on Align to Grid, that is going to allow us to draw right on top of our model with the perspective matched. This you can start drawing in baseboards, molding, trim, doors, windows, furniture, flooring, ceiling tile. Okay, maybe not. You could draw on ceiling tile. You really want to draw on ceiling tile? So are these apps a match? Are they compatible? Well, you think so, Goose? Goose says they are. I tend to agree. But they're not exactly perfect. And for that reason, I'm going to give these two apps 3.5 matches. 3 will burn, and the other one's just a short stick. We're going to continue this series on perspective grids by jumping into a different app that has brand new perspective grids. Checking out the Adobe Fresco perspective grids just out. Click on this video here as soon as that's available.